Hey, Soca lovers, it's Soca Say So.
And this chick.
And we're back. It's episode 6 of season 6. And this season, we're tackling the topic, the return. And this episode is the return of the 80s.
Who doesn't love the 80s?
For those of you who are just listening to the audio, we are totally 80s out in outfit and makeup.
Her more than me, because, you know, she's SocaSaySo. But yes, it's a return to the 80s. We are talking about all of the things that some of us, I mean, I'm too young to remember these things, but some of us have lived through a recession, tension with Russia, epidemics and health scares, and of course, nightlife. I love the nightlife. No, that's disco. Okay.
Say, why did I instantly go 70s? That's weird. Interesting.
But let's get into it.
Pop lock.
No. See, okay. So.
Right.
Oh boy, this is not a drunk rant.
No.
We are very sober. Yes, but some of these topics are just so hard to deal with that if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Ain't that the truth?
What do you want to get into first? What should we tackle first?
Rising gas prices and supermarket prices.
Yeah, man. So of course, as a result of the pandemic and not the Cold War.
Still in the 80s.
But sort of the Cold War. As a result of all of the tensions with Ukraine and Russia, gas prices have surged. I think the average has been at the peak about $6 a gallon.
Zoink.
For anyone who has to drive their car. I mean, we were seeing a rise in people really getting creative at the pump, figuring out ways to get around paying those $6. There were two guys who managed to actually bring down the price to pennies. And people were like, why are these men not being carried on your shoulders as heroes?
And there are some people who are just draining other people's gas tanks. So, you know, the return.
Resourceful. Yeah, gas prices. And of course, we're seeing that in everything, right? It's leading to food supply issues. It's leading to increases for anybody who is trying to travel. It's just like, it's sweeping so much that we're a little concerned that we might actually go into another recession like we did in the 80s. Ugh.
Economists are saying, you know, we're concocting the same exact soup. we're on the same exact path, and things haven't been this bad since the 80s. So we're going right back to it, which is not great, because with that came a lot of crime, an uptick in crime, an uptick in homelessness, and a lot of drug use, especially in New York.
So I think the economists might be right, because as we know in New York, crime has surged definitely. Despite our new mayor saying that he is going to be very tough on crime, we are still seeing the surge in crime rates. We recently had an attack on the subway where someone actually detonated a gas explosive and then shot people, 13 people, I believe. Luckily, no one died, but many people were injured. And of course, if you're a New Yorker, the subway is pretty much the way you get around on the city. So there are a lot of people who are just like, I don't know if I want to be taking this subway anymore. And also, it pointed out the fact that even though our mayor said he is going to make sure that our subways are safe because millions of people take the subway, cameras were down surprisingly during this incident. And so it took a while to figure out who did it.
which is so scary. I mean, I assume everywhere I go, I'm being watched by someone's camera, and especially within the transit system, they are, visible. They're not hidden, and you would expect that they're working and that they are keeping up with the maintenance, because there have been reports that um, their inspectors were noting just in general across the board that MTA cameras um, need to have more maintenance than they were having in the past 3 years. So I think the reports from 2018 and 2019, the auditors say they need to do more maintenance. It's not enough to just have them. You have to make sure they're maintained, and you have to make sure that someone's watching the video, and that you're storing the images in a way that they can be looked at. So they were warned. And of course, in the one station that had 3 cameras and none of them worked, this is where the problem is. So I wonder if he knew that, or if that was just a coincidence. But there was lots and lots of graffiti in the subways in the 80s, and it was very dangerous to be in the subway at night. In the 80s, there was lots of gang activity and just random foolishness that we supposedly cleaned up. And so we definitely don't want to go back to that again.
We definitely don't want to go back to that. We've heard the mayor say that he is going to be very tough on crime. He's really anti-gun. He's trying to make sure that the police force is doing their jobs, making sure that they are out in force, that they are present. But yeah, when you can open fire on the subway, that says something's a problem. And leave. You can just leave the subway, like you aren't immediately apprehended. That suggests a problem. And so we're seeing rises in crime. But one thing that, you gotta love it when your mayor comes on after Frank James, who is the suspect in custody. After he was arrested, the mayor came on with, I will say, a Black woman police commissioner, and said, we got him. We did it. We got him. It's all good. Everyone can feel safe now. I'm like, do we feel safe now because you got this person?
It's feeling a lot like, when the gangs were on the rise in the 80s. We might have to like step it up with all of the like angels and the citizens that used to come out to protect their neighborhoods in the 80s.
So we need a Batman, is what we're saying. Definitely need.
Basically, we're living in Gotham. It's what's happening.
A lot of the crime has been anti-Asian hate, but then we also have crime, of course, that is affecting Black communities. And so a problematic statement from Mayor Adams was, what happened to all the Black Lives Matter people who are saying that they are here for Black lives? And now we're seeing this rise in crime. Where are you? And many of his critics are like, that's not really BLM's job. It's your job to keep the city safe. Like, I'm not sure why you choose now to point the finger at BLM.
And in a whole panini, we're still in a pandemic.
I was wondering where you were going.
Like, COVID is still here, y'all. And apparently, COVID cases are on the rise.
Even the mayor had COVID. He went to a gala in DC and got COVID after he's vaccinated, right? So that's another controversial issue, is that he implemented these vaccine mandates, and 1,500 city employees lost their jobs because they refused to get the vaccine. But then, lo and behold, a few days ago, he said, you know what? Sports teams and entertainers don't have to be vaccinated. And so people are like, wait a minute, these pro athletes can be unvaccinated, but this city employee has to be vaccinated or lose their job. What are we thinking here?
Yeah. I mean,
There's no way to to explain it away. There really isn't. I mean,
Explain it away.
he's saying that this is for the economy because sports teams bring in tourism. You get people coming into the stadiums, and we want to bring back that feeling of New York and entertainment. But at the same time, when people were not getting vaccinated, and folks were like, did you fire them? And like, oh no, they lost their jobs. They chose not to get the vaccine. They chose to lose their jobs. So are you going to hire them back? What's the deal?
That rationale eerily sounds like the trickle-down effect from the 80s.
Hmm.
You pump money into, all of the rich people, then they'll spend money, and then the rest of the people will get money, and they'll all put it back into the economy, and it will circulate, and this will make sense.
That Reaganomics rearing its ugly head again. Will
Nah,
we ever be over you, Reaganomics?
I hope so. Yeah, it's very problematic when you're, you know, increasing classism. You're making people choose based on, the fact these people are making way less money. So they had a lot more to lose by, not getting vaccinated and losing their jobs. And if they made such a stand, right, then it really meant a lot to them, and they had reasons. I don't know. I mean, I guess it was a lot of people is why they didn't want to go in a case by case situation. But I thought that seemed very easy to say, hey, you're not vaccinated, you lose your job. Whereas, I mean, obviously, the mayor has no control over whether a basketball player or a hockey player keeps their job or lose their job, but he can say if, generally, if they get to be in that stadium, if they get to go to work, and because that space is in New York and you can't play, in this arena, so it is different, right? It's either you're taking money directly from the mayor and their office, or you're just ancillary to it. So that is different. He had no way of saying fire Kyrie Irving. Like, he's not in charge of that. He doesn't pay his paycheck. But he could say, if you don't have the vaccine, you can't come in this building. And so that's where it was. So it's not apples to apples for sure. But it does very much have a perception of changing the rules for the elite, changing the rules for the famous, changing the rules for, what you want to enjoy, because you wanted to go to a party. So now it's okay. We don't have to be checked to go on a party. You want to go to the basketball game and see your favorite basketball player. So this is what changes. This is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes rules are made on perception. Like, sometimes you just have to say, look, this is going to look bad. It will look bad to hundreds of thousands of people. We shouldn't do this. Millions of people. We shouldn't do this. You should say that in your office before you before you make a mandate. But who am I?
Yeah, that conversation was not had. The thing that troubles me is that every time he makes these sweeping declarations, he doubles down on it. And he's like, look, I'm the mayor. I'm going to make the tough choices. And I'm like, that's not really a tough choice. That's a double standard. That's not the same thing. Saying that, it's the city employees' fault if they aren't vaccinated and so they don't have their jobs. But because we need these athletes to bring in this money and improve the economy, we're going to give them a pass. That's not okay. That's a definite double standard.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, we were talking about if there were any diseases like this in the 80s, and I can't remember any pandemic that hit, but HIV was discovered and exposed, right? AIDS became a thing in the 80s, right? It existed, but it wasn't spoken about, and then it blew up. And so lots of people were getting tested for AIDS all of a sudden. More people were using condoms more regularly, but all of those things were just on your will.
Yeah, personal choice.
Yeah, those weren't mandates. So no 80s connection there.
I mean, but you still have a health scare, right? Like you still, because there also wasn't that much information about what AIDS was and how it's transmitted. It's the same with COVID right now, right? We don't really know what this thing is, and it's mutating like crazy. And yeah, the vaccine is working, or maybe it's not, and maybe you'll need yet another booster, or maybe it's something that'll stick around and be like the flu, and you'll just have to take precautions to make sure that you are protecting yourself. But the mayor is vaccinated, and he got COVID. So it's not an inoculation. It's not as though you can't get it, but it's similar to, we have campaigns about health and safety. We have campaigns all over the subways, the news, everything about getting tested, making sure that you are okay, taking care of your loved ones and your family. I mean, it rings a lot like the 80s to me.
All right, she made the connection. Go, girl.
I mean, and it's killing. It's definitely killing people. And we do need to make sure that any policy that is being put in place is really in the best interest of the residents, that we are thinking of what will make us safer, and not just what's going to be good for the economy, or what looks good on paper, or can I still go to that party? I don't feel like wearing this mask. Like, you still have to.
Okay, true.
Yeah. Health and safety is back in the news.
So what about for you? Is it the return of parties for you?
I mean, like, okay, so mask that if I am going to a party that has a lot of people, I am off in a section where there aren't that many people around. You still want to take precautions. I know that we have a change in policy. Our mayor says nightlife is important to the city, again, because of the economy, but at the same time, personal medical choices. And I don't want to risk my life for no party. Like, I know I used to say soca or die, but I'm really leaning to the not die part.
Yeah. Let's not do that. I am not really going to parties right now, but that's not because of COVID. I just haven't found much to interest me. But I think the summer will be jam-packed. I know that I have several hosting gigs, and so I will be at I'll be at some concerts, I'll be at a festival. So there will be large numbers of people around me. And since I'll be hosting, I won't be wearing a mask because although you can wear a mask and talk in the mic, we've all seen it, it's very hard. So we'll see. I have to play it by ear on those. Like I do a lot of searches for masks, so I may find the right ones. So
you know, I love a good mask. I love a good LED mask, a good branded mask. I love a good straw hole mask. I love it because I'm still drink. I will help you find the right mask for the occasion. No reason to not fet, not party, and still take care of yourself.
exactly. I think I want to go for the see-through mask again. Not the one I had last year. I think I need a new one though.
So they can see all that pretty lipstick.
Yeah. That one came in parts and it was like hard to keep together. Like, it doesn't feel safe. No. But I really think that this summer is, I don't know, I'm predicting this summer will be very hot in New York. Like
Go figure.
like 80s
The summer will be hot.
like 80s hot, like people like maybe a blackout.
Don't you call it on us.
The way things are going, that like with the weather, I think the weather's going to be kind of crazy in this summer. But I really think that we will have like so many like epic party stories this summer. I think that people did the promoters did the tests last year, and I think they're really gonna bring us some memorable events this year. That's
I
just,
hope so.
yeah. On that note, can I rave?
How dare you?
Party. Talking all this sad stuff, man.
You know what? Yes, we need to free up. We definitely need to free up, and I will permit you to rave. Like I can stop you.
Thought we figured that out by now.
While jumping up in a van, I end up in confusion. Whoa. The van was at Green Corner. Hey, I jumping with Rebecca. Hey, I ain't sure if this sort of thing really happened. Whoa. Because my head was so bad. But Rebecca was away all the shirt button, oh Lord, and she start to whine like she mad. Falling, hey, hey, falling down, hey, hey, on the ground, hey, hey, jumping up, hey, hey, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle, oh Lord, I tell you. Rebecca drink the thing, Rebecca smoke the thing, Rebecca sniff the thing, Rebecca high man. She was dancing around in a circle, oh Lord. She was high, high, high. Yeah, yeah. I know Rebecca from small.
Talk about going back to the 80s. Rebecca sniffed it ting. Way.
That was Blue Boy, aka Super Blue, and the song is called Rebecca from 1983.
I wasn't born yet. I'm sure my grandparents played that song.
Did you guys hear me blinking just then?
I don't know what you're talking about, but that song definitely makes me want to go to a party, go to a fete, and just whine around, jump around, dance around. I miss, since we're being nostalgic, I miss having fun in a party. I miss being able to jump up with strangers and have fun and get close to people and not worry about about if they are going to cough on me.
Yeah, don't breathe on me. Just hold your breath while you whine. Okay, thanks, sir.
I'm gonna walk around with extra masks. I'm gonna be like, can you just put this on? All right, let's whine.
Might work. That might be a thing.
You know the way that people used to carry around condoms? We could do like a TLC thing, put it in your glasses, just have like
yes. It'll work. We have to brand it though, Abby. By the end of the night, everybody's BK Rant and Rave.
I say we do it. I say we walk around with branded masks and just hand them out to people. If you want to whine, put on this mask.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm.
I'm starting a movement that Eric Adams can't make fun of.
I think he'll find a way. I would like to know from our listeners and our viewers, how many times did this chick roll her eyes today? And how
listeners can't tell you.
And the viewers and the listeners can tell me, how many long pauses did she have today? Tell us why you mad, son.
Try to be so objective, but man, some things just get into my spirit.
Yeah, in order for you to comment, you have to do both. You have to watch us on YouTube and you have to listen to the podcast. then you can comment thoroughly.
I think we should give away a prize for whoever is right. Like, ooh, she rolled her eyes like 10 times.
We'll figure it out. We'll get you a mask.
Get you a branded mask. But hopefully we're going to see people in parties this summer. I am looking forward to a little bit of the return to nightlife. I am looking forward to the return to carnivals. I mean, we have some domestic carnivals coming up. It looks like Trinidad is like having their carnival now. Like there's so many parties right now in Trinidad.
I don't know, but listen, I always say, if you see SocaSaySo in a party, come up and say, hello, hi, okay? Don't DM me later and say, oh, was that you? You know it was me.
But wear a mask because a hello, hi. Not these days, girl. Maybe just wave.
Don't come in for the hug. Don't come in for the hug.
I made it sound so Jewish. Hello, hi.
Tell them where to find.
We're canceled.
Nah, we're just Brooklyn. That's all.
But guys, you can always, if you don't see us in the parties, or if you are going to come up to us with a hello, hi, maybe just follow us. Follow SocaSaySo on all social media, or go to SocaSaySo.com. Follow DysChick on all social media, except for maybe Instagram, because the account's been hacked. I fell victim. But you can still, of course, find me at DysChick.com. Go to DysChick.com. Stay up to date with everything I'm doing by subscribing to my newsletter.
And of course, make sure you go to bkrantandrave.com and then go to YouTube and subscribe, follow everything that we're doing everywhere. You can find us, BK Rant and Rave. Okay, bye.